Now we have Pedro. Pedro, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Pedro is here. Hello, Pedro.
Hello. Hello.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay. So currently we have Pedro.
I was kind of like, okay, I was like, okay, relax, hearing you, and Pedro, oh yeah, yes. I jumped out of the chair. And it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about my internet.
That's
I got
okay.
some internet issues. So
yes. Well,
right
I think
now,
it's more Skype
I'm
issues,
speaking
but
through my cell phone, so it's not the best audio quality. My voice is not that sexy. So
it's still
it's
doing it
always
for me,
sexy to me.
Pedro. It's fine.
anyway, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for.
It's really amazing, Ryan, and what everyone's been doing in the community. You're like, you're crazy. You just, I can't imagine the amount of hours you spend, doing all this stuff. And,
I do it because I love it.
Yeah, I know. But
I do it because I love it.
Yeah, we do it for the money and the bitches.
Something like that. For those of you who don't know who Pedro is a composer that is composing all the music for Star Citizen, with the exception of Squadron 42. Does things like the music for the Star Map, correct?
Yes.
All of the Star Citizen music that you guys have all learned to love and heard out there. So I had a few questions for you. I know that the community had a few questions, and so did Twerk and Board Gamer. And I just want to know right now, is there anything that you're working on right now that you're really excited to release, or maybe a better way of asking that is what. Or let me take that back here. What has been your most favorite song that you've created so far for Star Citizen?
Well, the main theme for sure it was, but that has been a long time ago. Recently, it's been the music I did for the Sadable, which has not been released.
Oh,
Sadable for the FPS. I like that. I personally liked it.
Yeah.
And it was very cool. It was a bad week for me because I had I had a really hard cold last week.
Sounds like everybody was kind of sick lately.
Yeah, for some reason that cold affected my left ear. So I have an otitis or something like that. So I had an incredible ear pain this last Thursday. And I was, this is really bad. I was partially deaf from the left ear.
Oh no!
Can you imagine that? So it was so. Unfortunately, and this was really unfortunate. And in the past few days, I've been, trying to recover from that. Today is kind of 80% good. So it will take some time to be perfect as it was, and. But it's not good enough to resume working. But
right.
I really had a really terrible week. So really very minimal production from my side, which was sad. But I it was unfortunate. It never happened to me. I don't know if any one of you ever had something like that.
I've never had something like that happen to me.
Yeah, did you ever have something like, it's called an acute otitis or something like that? It's
not myself.
That's good.
Yeah.
Usually kids have that. Usually
it sounds
kids
terrible.
Have that, but not grown up. No, it's not too terrible. It just just makes you partially deaf.
Right. Well, in your line of work, it's kind of important. Right.
Yeah.
So
a little bit. Yeah, I got some funny jokes that Beethoven could do it, but
yeah.
I'm not quite Beethoven, but so yeah. But now it's getting really, it's getting good. But yeah, what the stuff that I hasn't been released that I'm kind of excited is that from Sadable. I really liked it. I think I think it will be cool. I hope people like it. But unfortunately, as you know, FPS is not released, so you'll have to wait a bit longer. But I think I like that.
We are waiting with bated breath for sure for Sadaball.
Pedro,
yes.
How did you end up composing the theme music for Star Citizen? How did that come about?
Yeah, that was the first piece I wrote for Chris in 2012. That was what made me into Star Citizen, basically.
So did someone from CIG contact you, or did you contact them, or how?
Oh, back in 2012, I spoke with Chris. It was a very interesting day. My son wasn't born yet. He was very small, and I heard on that day for the first time the heartbeat of my son. And
but you were sleeping a lot better back then.
Yes, back then it was easier. Yes, that's for sure. And I felt inspired by that. I don't know. And I just felt like that I should email Chris Roberts, and I emailed him. And he heard my music. He enjoyed it, and he asked me for very small demo of what I would feel that Star Citizen should sound like. And so I wrote the main theme for him.
Wow,
so
that's
and
amazing.
I say, and then he enjoyed it, and then he hired me. And
so obviously you've done that main theme, you've done The Majesty of Space, you've done Hero March, you've done lots of the other advert music, and I've seen that you've done The Witcher 3 main theme, Civilization music from Civ 5, and you've even done some music from 3D Mark, the benchmarking program.
Yep, yeah, that's right. 3D Mark. It was a long time ago.
What's it about games that does it for you? Why do you go for games?
Sorry, why did I?
Why do you choose games to compose music? Why do you like doing that?
Wow. Yeah, no. Well, it's so obvious to me. It's when I was 3 years old, I was born with a Spectrum in front of me. I don't know if any of you saw a Spectrum working.
Yeah, so next Spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a Spectrum 48K. So I started. I hated the music from there, of course. it was not good at all. But basically, when I was born, I was bombarded with music from the 80s pop culture, which I think was one of the best pop cultures ever.
Yes, it was!
Yes, it
was, Pedro!
Yes, it definitely was. I just love the 80s. There's nothing like the 80s. Maybe in 10 or 20 years there will be a crazy decade again, but that was really nice, crazy, positively crazy decade. And anyway, so I was involved with music from films. That was one of my first interaction with music, like Star Wars, of course. That's unavoidable. But there was other movies that I really liked hearing music that really inspired me into music, which was the Last Starfighter. That was awesome.
Okay, yeah.
Another one was Gremlins. I don't know if you remember Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins.
Of course.
Gremlins 2, one of my favorite films ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fantastic because there was a scene there, I think, where are you still hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because suddenly I started hearing something different. Anyway, so it was amazing because there was a scene in Gremlins 1 where the kid was when the main actor played a melody to Gremlin. I don't know if you remember that scene, to Gremlin on his keyboard, which actually was very similar to the keyboard I had in my house, which is something like like a melody. Exactly. Wow.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, I love you.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I understood the power of music as a way to communicate with people. And I was very young. I was very young because I was born in '79, so I was very young when that came out. And all of that really inspired me into enjoying music. Besides the pop music that I used to hear, my father was before I was born, my father was like a radio host, like so back then it was a big thing, and he had a really good taste in music and a really good taste in selecting. So I was like, spoiled. We had a room in our house where we had a space just to hear music because my father loved music. Can you imagine a room, a small space in your house exclusively? There's nothing, there's no iPads, no screens, no nothing. There's just, back then was a cassette player or a turntable and speakers, and you will sit and hear music and nothing else. So there was a room in the house that he was just to hear music, and I loved to be there, hearing music with my father, and really, so I heard lots of good music that was really well selected by him. Of course, there was other movies like Never-Ending Story.
Yeah,
fantastic music.
Probably one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. Never-ending story. Yeah, that's fantastic. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. A trail.
I didn't sing that part, so I didn't look ridiculous.
Oh, thanks.
Bort will take care of that.
Yeah, Bort will do that for you.
Bort will take care of that.
But anyway, also my father used to like a lot, classical music, and so that was, my first 10 years of my life. When I was around 10, that was meanwhile I had the Commodore 64, which also had, in my opinion, like crappy audio quality. But then when I was like 10 or something, a new computer came up, which is fabulous, the Commodore Amiga. Do you guys know that?
Yeah,
I'm aware of the Amiga.
I'm aware of it. I never had one.
You are aware? Oh my God, just aware. That small machine was light years ahead of its time in terms of audio. It sounded like just really, really fantastic, everything. And that's where I remember games that had an amazing audio there, like Shadows of the Beast. Oh, that's so fantastic. Like Chaos Engine. Like
Chaos Engine. That's a game, man. That's a hell of a game.
Yeah, that's a fantastic game. Like and some of the games that really inspired me and really made me want to learn to compose music. So up until now, I learned to love music because of films, because of pop culture. I love it, but I never felt, the curiosity to actually start making music. And it was in the Amiga that I made my first track. And there was some trackers back then called Octam. The one I used was Octamed Pro, and it enabled us to do the really cool stuff with music. And there was a game like Flashback has a fantastic music. What else? Oh my God, there's so many really good games that had really good music. So it was because of those games that I decided I want to be a composer, and so I signed up for the classical composition because I wanted to be a composer. I didn't went to school to be a film composer or to be a video game composer or to be anything. I just wanted to be a composer.
Yeah.
I think it was good because nowadays people want just to learn I want to learn just enough to make a soundtrack, which is good, but sometimes you may bypass some stuff midway. I kind of wanted to learn everything I could, and so I studied composition for 7 years. So it was a long time.
That is a long time.
Yeah, it was good because I actually took the time to learn properly every step, and not rushing anything. I was not in a rush. And then when I was like in 2005, around that, or 2006, I decided I had like a small period without doing much composition. I was kind of like absorbing everything and reflecting if I was good enough to be a composer or not, or what I wanted to do with music. And I remember thinking for myself, well, what made me start doing music was games, and I love games. By the way, I play games every single day of my life. I haven't played anything today, but I'll probably play some game today, even if it's just 10 minutes or 20. I will play. I have to play it. So it's really inside of me. I used to be a pro gamer in StarCraft when I was 18. So
Me too. Good man.
You guys are gonna have to do a StarCraft.
Oh man,
game.
Yeah. We have to make a duel. What were your actions per minute, by the way?
It's not about APM. It's not about APM.
He's embarrassed.
No,
He's embarrassed.
No.
Now we need to know. Now we need to know.
I can't even remember, man. It's like when I was 11. So.
Oh, you were younger. Well, my APM back then, but I used to practice a lot. Was maximum I ever did was 190. So it was not too bad.
Over 3 clicks a second. Jeez.
Yes, 3 clicks a second. So it was kind of fast for me. I never. Nowadays I will never go beyond 110.
Yeah. This is what happens when we get old.
Yeah, you lose your Twitch
we're getting
response.
worse at.
No Uber Micro for you anymore, Pedro.
Yeah.
So I'm getting rusty and old, and that is bad as a gamer. Anyway, so I think that quite explains it why I'm doing music for video games. It doesn't. I just love games, but I don't. When I do music for games, I don't feel I'm doing like video game music. I'm doing music as seriously as I would as I have done when I'm doing concert music or music for a big blockbuster film. I take it seriously. I think that's the best way to do it. Really,
so you make that music for Star Citizen. You make some great music, by the way. I mean,
fantastic.
It's pretty much all amazing from what I've heard. But obviously, the main theme is something very special.
Yeah.
So you make that music, but do you play Star Citizen?
Yes, I do. I do play, of course. I haven't played. I haven't played the. I don't play it every day. That's
yeah.
I'll be
You're not as crazy as we are.
No, not because of that. Because I'm usually seeing what's going ahead of the game that is in the current state. So I spend more time seeing videos of what is going to come up afterwards. So I have to compose music for that.
Of course.
And so I spend more time going forward. But I believe from now we had. I believe I will have to revisit a lot of stuff from like R-Corp, which really needs some love. It was it needs some love in terms of music. It's still lacking quite a bit because we're more focused on the FPS back then.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, well, there was some bugs that really delayed the release and. Well, I did some of the music, but then if I didn't want it to make it feel rushed, so R-Corp right now is a bit on the silent area, but I believe that will be changing very soon. So but even though I have played this month a couple of times with Star Citizen. I like to go there and explore. I go there more to explore and to see and to admire the beauty, to get inspired to do music, more than compete or something. For now, I will compete later on. I go there to inspire myself because it's really beautiful. I think the game is just fantastically beautiful. Everyone in the company has been working really hard to make it look and sound very special. yeah, I can feel everyone feels a lot of passion into the project, and I feel that can be seen.
Most definitely it can.
I feel that. At least I feel that. That's for sure. Uh, so
For,
I hope I answered you the question why
You
video
did.
games.
So for me, I'm curious to know for when you look at something like ArcCorp, or we have upcoming landing areas like Nyx, or even just the Star Citizen main theme, where are you pulling a lot of your inspiration from? Are you looking at different types of music? Are you looking at maybe other composers or movies or other video games?
Well, when I did the main theme, I didn't look for any inspiration because it's very tricky when you do a new theme for a new sci-fi, because there are many stereotypes that are already established and
Yeah.
people associated with sci-fi. But if you fall in the trap to do it something similar, Star Citizen will only be something that is a wannabe. You know what I mean?
Right, and
It's a
that
wannabe.
makes sense.
And I know I could have done the Star Citizen main theme with a lot heavier percussion, for example. People usually like that. It's usually heard in trailers, and then it's quite easy to do it. And that was, it was a decision I did not to do it with hard percussion, at least on most of it, because I feel that will be something different that will give into identity into the Star Citizen main theme. That, like, let's say no for now for the big usual cliche large percussion. That was like I feel it was a good decision, and maybe some people would prefer something like with those large like
It's a masterpiece, Pedro. It's a masterpiece.
I've done that for the commercials because they are
Yeah.
needed, but and for the it's there's no big deal about that. I just felt Star Citizen would need a different identity, and I would steer away from that. Also, I felt the music, what I felt for the main theme and the inspiration was Star Citizen was the third chapter of Chris Roberts' career as a game developer. And what I felt, he started with Ink Commander, which was like an old school. That's why the first section of the main theme is kind of old school to remind you the roots of sci-fi. Even though I tried to do it with a very different kind of melody, I think it's different. I liked it as it was done, but I felt it had its own personality. It's very easily identifiable. If you maybe in some time, if you just hear some motive like something like that, you already remind yourself in 3 or 4 notes. You will remember, oh, this has like this some of the signatures from Star Citizen. So I tried to make some motives that were very unique and not actually used. So the first part reminds you of the old sci-fi legacy that we have. Then the mid part is kind of a more modern score, which was a homage to the modern scores that we usually hear today. And I may have made a nod to Hans Zimmer because I really admire his work.
Yeah, I feel it there.
I really can. And then as it goes into the end, it starts to go into what I feel the sci-fi scoring can be in the end, in the future, which is a mix a lot with EDM. It kind of, and that's why there are some of those ostinato synths that are very synthy, and but then it just grows into a large orchestra again, and I which is maybe it's more of my language, what I like to do. Maybe I don't know. That's what I felt when I did it. So yeah, so the stars in the main theme separate in three parts. So inspirations are many. What I wanted to do with Star Citizen is in portions of the game where you would feel like home, music will go into these roots, into these old school sci-fi roots, because that's where Chris Roberts' inspiration came from. That's where my inspiration came from. I was born in the 80s, so that was old school. That's kind of a nod I want. But once you're not in a home and safe area, music will shape into a more modern score. And in the action scenes, I want the music to be kind of modern as well. I don't want it to have... it will have some percussion as well. I want it to have heavy percussion too when it's needed. Not exaggerated, because otherwise you would have too much noise that will compete with the sound effects in the game. And the game has wonderful sound effects. With a fantastic team that we have in UK, led by Lee Banyard. And so it's really a fantastic work. So I don't feel the music should be too trailer-esque.
Right.
Making trailer-esque music is usually better for instant, pleasing, to please easy, a little bit easier the crowd. People usually like it. But when it's working inside the game, I think it kind of tires your ear a bit more easily, and it competes with everything that's going on. So I don't think that's the best option, and no, none of us do. And so that's what I think. I don't know if you remember the video with the landing for the first time in ArcCorp that we had a long time ago.
Oh yes.
I
remember.
I don't know if you remember. There were some themes going on. I felt like that's a good example where you're like home, and you're arriving from a jump point, and you see ArcCorp planet, and the music and kind of makes a nod to John Barry, old school, like something like that. And that was a theme that I thought it would be like a theme for ArcCorp, for ArcCorp planet itself. Once you start landing, the music gets more dense to underscore the machinery and the industrious nature of the planet. I felt that was nice. I like that some of the those that was the one. I think that's the kind of stuff I want to try to translate into the actual PU module that we have inside ArcCorp. I think that would be very nice to be able to hear those themes that I created when you're playing inside.
Well, some of the stuff that you've touched on already, like you're saying, there's different types of compositions that you're putting together, and there's some things like a nod to other composers and EDM and stuff like that. What are some of the styles of music maybe that we haven't heard that we are going to be possibly listening to in the future? Like, are there going to be things that are going to be maybe more country and western style, or something that's going to be more rock, or I know we have some of that old sci-fi future retro stuff that I play on my stream. So what kind of things can we expect to hear in Star Citizen?
From the score itself, I believe the styles will not. I would try to avoid to make styles just too without a line of unity. But there's music for bars and stuff like that, where bars and for certain locations that it's like a diegetic. They are actual music from the location, and I feel that is very appropriate to have 80s, the 80s electro music, which I love, music that you always put in your channel, and I feel that will work perfectly fine, really well in like some of the shops, and I feel that will give a lot of identity and a lot of uniqueness to the world. That will, I think that's one. I feel that will work very well, in my opinion. That's so yeah. For the score, so music that is just underscoring what you're doing. No, the music. I feel the music will be a bit like I told you. So when you're home, it will be more like old school, and then once you start moving out, music gets more modern, more tense, the more darker too, probably. And once you are, it will have some instrumental differences when we start to move into the worlds of each race.
Right. Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, which was about the different alien races. Are you looking at having like a specific theme for each?
It's already decided. We already mapped up. So for each race, what kind of instrumentation and kind of sound we will be looking at, and so it has been. It will be different and more tonal, less tonal, more kind of without any melodic elements. Certain races like the Van Duel, but it has been already real. I really didn't want to say it right now because I don't want to say because I know that until it comes the moment that I will compose, maybe there will be some change or some reconsideration. But it's already lined up and already written, and we already have concepts in our heads for what we want for each race. So that will be something different. Music usually comes when you're writing for a game. Usually comes more near the end of the project because up until now things are just being built and kind of things are being built, and for us composers to jump in and start working, and we need to see how it will actually work better. For example, the baby PU that we will be having very soon. Fortunately, I've been ill all this week, but anyway, the baby PU, the music will be more varied because it's smaller. When we are looking at the game as a larger universe, music will be much more sparse. So we'll not be hearing music as often. Music will be used only in more special occasions, when you visit a new kind of system, when only in very special situations, because I don't feel the game should have an overdose of music, because when I'm playing MMOs, and I've played several, I don't like when you're always hearing music. I like when you're hearing some music
kind of just for the highlights, right?
Exactly. You hear some, like a good chunk of music that pleases you, that really, fits the mood, and then it goes away, and then you just, for a while, you don't hearing anything, and then when you comes another moment that it's actually really needed, and music comes in. I really don't like music to be always hearing music, even in battle. So, for example, if you will be fighting something that is, not much of a challenge for your ship, I don't believe there should be any combat music for that, for example, because you will probably kill it, and with no, with little effort, you will kill your foes. So there should be no music in that situation. But on the contrary, when you are fighting something where it will be, close to win, or a 50-50 chance, sure, music should come in because you're excited about it. It's a challenge, not like squashing a bug, if you know what I mean. I feel that. So but all that, because right now we're still in small modules, the music concept is a bit different. and now that we are going a lot faster in the production of the game, I'll start. I'm now composing music more into having in mind the actual final game rather than the small releases that are happening. So anyway, the releases will always have. I will not forget about them, and I will also compose music for them so that we can actually enjoy some of those music from Star Citizen in those smaller sections. But yeah, I hope to be spending more time into our actual game because that's what I really want. I want to play the game.
Right? Yeah.
Really
You're like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play the full thing. Yes, I really want to.
Now, what are you gonna play? What is the role you're going to play in Star Citizen when you play? Do you know yet?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, yes, I know because I know my personality. I'm pretty sure I'll do a lot of exploration. That's
Cool.
That's definitely because another thing that I'll probably want to do a lot is besides exploration. It's probably like certain rescue missions.
Right.
Okay.
I feel that would be very cool. And yes, I feel those are the two things that I will be looking forward the most to do.
I think
Like
a lot of people are
exploring.
looking forward to exploring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I personally love doing. I just want to use Star Citizen to relax, to do some cool missions, and to eventually get into some fights. But always with doing some missions back and forth because I'm pretty sure we'll have, of course, missions that will be and some of the necessary merchant trading that I will need to do to gain some credits so I can pay fuel and upgrade to the ship because of course I want to upgrade the ship. Everyone wants that.
Mhm.
So that's what I want to do the most with the game right now. That's what what I will want to do.
Nice.
Okay, so I have some questions here. I don't know if Twerk or Board Gamer, you had anything else to ask, Pedro, before we jump into
Really.
Go ahead. Go first.
After you, Twerk.
after you, Twerk.
Mine's a little weird. I'm gonna let you know right now.
Okay.
If you were a wrestler, what would your theme song be that you came out to? If you were like a professional wrestler, like the WWE wrestler.
I probably wouldn't be, but imagining that I would be.
Yeah.
Picture this, Pedro. Picture this. Okay, the composing doesn't
For
work out.
sure, it will be Highway into the Danger Zone.
There you go, yeah. Awesome.
Perfect.
Because I just love Top Gun. I still love
There you go.
Top Gun.
Top Gun is amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. For sure.
Pedro the Goose. That's what your wrestling name can be.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I'll be Goose. Because I will be dead in a second. I will eject and die really quickly. But yeah, that's for sure. I really love that music. That's actually when I scored the tutorial because everyone forgets about the tutorial, but the tutorial was really not. I really liked the music I did for that.
It immediately reminded me of Top Gun.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
I even talked to you on Skype about that. I was like, I was in it, and I went over to Skype on my other computer. I was like,
it was really a challenge. It was really a big challenge because the music is not at all close to Top Gun. It is close in terms of.
it has the same feel.
Yeah.
It has the same feel, but harmonically, I really changed a lot of things in the song, not to sound like to be really away from Top Gun, because
Right.
Top Gun has a very not only for copyright issues. That's not my main, because I wanted to be at least original with that. and I didn't really want to sound like a copy. So it was really a challenge because when you love Top Gun so much, and you have all the music from the movie in your head, and then Chris comes to me and say, Pedro, I want this to sound like Top Gun, and you say, okay, but it can't sound like Top Gun because Top Gun is just too close to the reference, and no one wants that. That was a really huge. I can't even imagine. You can't even imagine how challenging that was. But I feel I did it.
I think you
love
nailed
the
it.
music. I think it was. I liked it. I really liked it. Chris loved it when I did it with the choir and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. Really
Yeah, actually, I have it playing right now a little bit. So why don't we just take? Well, I don't want to listen to the entire thing right now, but just a little section, just so people watching and listening can understand what we mean by how it has that feel. Those sweet dance moves. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely feel it. Like I'm picturing the ships on the runway kind of thing, and all of that in the beginning there, which is really awesome. And we'll have links to this and all of Pedro's other music on the forums as well after the podcast here, so you guys can take a listen to that. But yeah, okay, so Board Gamer, did you have any other questions before we jump into some of the viewer questions?
Pedro, do you have a favourite looking ship? Because I see you as like an artiste in varying forms now. So do you have something that you like the look of the most in the Star Citizen universe? In particular, I suppose, a ship.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of the smaller ships. By the way, I know larger ships are really cool and amazing to see. But I personally, when I'm playing, I personally prefer to. But I love the Hornet. I feel that's fantastic ship, the Hornet. Another one that I really like, because that was the first commercial I did, and I felt it's really nice, is the 300i.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that ship. That's one. Of the newer ships, the one I just love when I saw the first concept a long time ago is the Merlin. It's so beautiful, that ship. Small.
It's a very nice looking ship, for sure.
Very nice.
I think
it's done by the guy who won the next great starships, and I can feel he put a lot of love into that.
Yeah.
Really liked it. Really fantastic ship. So those are but my favorite is probably 300i. It just has a certain class that I liked it.
mm-hmm.
I really, if I was going to buy for myself for real, if it was possible, I'll probably pick 300i. It just has, it's kind of sports looking, but not too sport.
And a little bit of luxury and
not too luxury.
not too much, but just enough.
Just a little bit. It kind of has a class and certain sport attitude. I like it. Like really well designed, that ship, in my opinion. Like every spaceship that we have in Star Citizen is like a piece of art.
Yes.
People have. It's many games when they build starships, they just build, just something. This is like movie quality spaceships.
Most definitely.
I'm pretty sure it is, because they model everything. Well, one thing is just to model the outside skin. Another thing is when you model like
all the components inside the ship itself, like
component.
when the damage and the plating falls off and all of that. Like it's truly amazing how much work they put into all the assets.
I never thought they were doing that. I remember when I was in UK last year, and the Paul Jones, the lead artist there, which is super talented, he was just showing me how each mechanism works, like mechanisms that we'll never see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the behind the scenes stuff, kind of.
See it. and he modeled it, and it was working, and I was like, oh my god, this is really.
It is pretty amazing.
It's really pretty, man. So yeah, no, I know. The ships are not very, they're not very affordable, but gosh, that's such an amount of work into each one.
Yeah.
It's really quite insane, and sometimes I wonder if it's all needed. Yeah, I do. I know. It's of course, but I also know that me as a composer, I care about very small details, because that's the only way to make it sound good. But it's really amazing. So it's started as
I think
a very
that's
special project, very special. I don't see any game with this level of detail. That
No, it is unprecedented for sure.
and I think that's why a lot of us are willing to spend more than we've spent on any video game before on these spaceships and on the potential that is Star Citizen, right? Because you see all the work that they've been doing, and you have to respect it.
Yeah, well, definitely. Star Citizen is just, it's just a matter of time until it gets released. So there's absolutely no question if those questions that have been asked recently, if there is no ifs in this case.
Yeah.
There are absolutely no ifs in this case. Absolutely no ifs. If no one. There's no possibility for a project like this, with this scope, with the amount of work that is done, and the amount of footage that is recorded, with the amazing cast that we have in the game. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Sure, it's kind of hard to comprehend how can a Kickstarter project become this size and with this.
It's the only one.
Yeah.
It's even quite hard for myself to comprehend, because it's really a huge feat of community.
Now
yes.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's quite true. It's a feat of the community, because if Chris wanted just to get rich, he would have done what he promised he would do in the Kickstarter. We would already have, as he promised before, the game launched completely, and everyone will be happy, right? And
of course,
probably they would, but probably he would only spend what he initially estimated, which was around $24 million for the game, and that will be it. Game was done, shipped, and delivered with like a low quality cast, cheap actors, which there are a ton of them around. They will be willing to do it for low budget.
Well, speaking of the cast,
and deliver, but just let me finish. What Chris did was actually noble, in my opinion, and I believe that most of us believe that. He said, "No, if people are giving me like $90 million, I'll not, just take the $65 million to my bank account and do a $25 million game." No, if people are giving me $90 million, I will make a $90 million game. And of course, that takes a little bit more time. You'll get a $90 million game, not a 25 one. And I feel that's damn amazing. And he's not, I feel that's super awesome.
I agree.
But sure, people, maybe there are some people that can say, no, but I don't care. I just wanted the game fast, and I don't care if it gets rich, because what I paid was to get that, high quality game, but smaller and with less everything. and by the time he said, and people like, well, there are those people, and it's always a risk, and those people can be a bit unpleased, but in the end, what will make this project a game that will be in the history of video games is the scope that it's gained. It's thanks to all the community and to everyone that supported the game like crazy, and with the insane amount of patience, because it needs some patience to get all this done. But yeah, it's a fabulous game. It's just fantastic. You can't even imagine the amount of work that I've already seen that looks so great. Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great. I can't tell you, but it's just it's incredible. It's incredible. When it all comes together, I think I will cry. Because it's just so. It's hard to comprehend how profound and complex it is. Yeah, that's what I feel about the project. So thank you for having me here and just for support the project. That's really without your support, none of this will be possible.
Well, we're happy to have you.
We are more than happy to have you, and
we love you, Pedro. We love you.
It's true. It's true.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, you mentioned the cast there. When you first heard about the Squadron 42 cast, what was your reaction to that?
I was like, wow.
Yeah, right?
Jesus Christ. Well, I thought, well, yeah, he really pushed the quality bar really higher than anything out there.
Mm-hmm.
Really higher. Really. That was quite. I was expecting one or two A-list actors when the funding got higher. I was kind of expecting that, but I was not expecting this amount of A-list actors, and even the ones that are not actual famous stars, even the non-lead roles are played by really great actors.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we have Sandy Gardner, which is also a fantastic actor. She's done a fantastic work and a lot of passion. I feel people will love her character. So, so it's also really amazing when you get a cast of this quality. There is such an aura that goes around everyone that is involved. When you get like a Gary Oldman, a Mark Hamill, people that really, he's making his line before you, and you are watching it, and he's making it so damn well that you get inspired to do a little bit better than you would usually do. So, and I'm pretty sure that you'll feel that when you're playing the game, and that's fantastic. You'll feel like you're part of a big thing. That'll be fantastic. It's just out of this world. That's what I feel.
Most definitely. So we do have some questions here from some of our communities. We've been collecting questions for them for the past week in anticipation of having you on. I know everybody's been really excited to get you and to be able to ask you these questions. So I'm gonna jump into some of these here.
Oh, sure.
And the first one here comes from Skarnik, and he's asking if there's going to be any type of music in the game that's going to be in the same style of Industrial Killing Machine.
That's a good question. Probably not. I would love it too. I would love it, but probably not. At least I don't see anything right now. That it's a very conceptual track, very hardcore. I don't know if it fits this project too well right now.
Okay. So thank you, Skarnik, for that question.
Thank you, Skarnik.
Repels asks, what game music will you never forget or has left a really lasting impression on you? If you were to pick like one specific game.
Oh yeah. Can I say more than one? There are
Yes, you can say more than one.
Well, the first one is Dragon's Breath in-game music, which was absolutely sublime music, very simple, very perfect, from Commodore Amiga. The soundtrack in Commodore Amiga. Commodore Amiga was the only PC before '95, or even before the year 2000 that could do good music. It's absolutely fantastic, that sound. You have to hear it for yourself to believe it. Another one will be Chaos Engine. That was a great,
it was
great. In Amiga, the music was fantastic. Actually, I did a homage to the soundtrack of Chaos Engine in Star Citizen already. And for those who have played Chaos Engine, they know when the game started, they would say like player activated. I don't know if you remember that, but the announcer would say that player activated with a very characteristic voice that he had. And then when you had to kill nodes, and when you killed the nodes, he would say node activated, because you had to activate nodes before you could finish the level. And the music had like a drone, really well done, and it was composed by. I never paid attention to the composer, only when I was doing this track was the race track for Star Citizen.
Richard Joseph did most of it.
Exactly, Richard Joseph. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2009, and with cancer. And I only knew that. I only knew it when I only learned about it in 2014 when I was trying to reach him. So I actually ended up reaching his brother, which is a sir that is he's 70, almost 80 years old already. So, and I asked him permission because I wanted to use some of the sounds from Richard Joseph. He couldn't find them, so I didn't use. I just done my own. But the groove that was behind it, I remember Kendrick had the music like. How was that? The beat was kind of very, very similar to the beat that I did in the race music that I did. The race music that I did was a thing that no one knows. It's called Speed Activated, and that's another homage to Chaos Engine. And that's why when the music starts, it starts with the crescendo. I don't know if you remember that. And then when it's the climax, it's me speaking. That will be the only time I will ever speak in the soundtrack. And it said "Speed Activated." I don't know if you ever heard that small detail. And that's why there's Speed Activated there. It's a homage to Richard Joseph, which has passed away, and he gave me so many childhood great memories when I playing Chaos Engine, and so that's why.
Awesome.
That's so that's a very memorable soundtrack, and those two were some of the best. Another one that I really liked was the soundtrack from Flashback, which was a game.
Oh, Flashback's amazing! Go Flashback and Another World. Oh my god.
Yes, Another World.
I remember all those advertisements back for that game.
Oh,
Flashback was the first game that made me rage quit.
Yes, Delphin Software, right? Delphin Software?
Oh my god.
I forget. But I remember with Flashback, the biggest thing that stands out to me, I remember like reading through comic books and magazines and stuff and seeing the advertisement. It's like, it was the next revolution in gaming and all of this other stuff. It was really cool.
It was a really great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the great score. Yeah, they had a really kind of horn score.
It paired the scenery with the scores so well, with the music so well that that was an epic game. Everything was right in that.
So epic. That was really epic. Really liked that.
Mm.
Really liked that. It had the Zimmer tone into it, even though
Yeah.
Zimmer didn't exist back then, in '93 or something, '92, '93. So yeah, these scores are probably some of the ones I really remember the most. But you have to hear Dragon's Breath in-game track.
Mm-hmm.
That was sublime, really. I have to send you the link, Ryan, afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to take a listen to that.
Oh,
So thanks, Repels, for asking that. And moving on to our next question here from Fufubar. He says, Pedro, first let me say what an awesome job you do in creating Star Citizen music. What kind of directions do you get from CIG or Chris Roberts to create the music? Is it songs for specific moods or even concrete situations? Or do you have a lot of freedom to just have to create a great soundtrack?
No, I have guidelines from Chris. Yes, I do have, and not only from Chris. I hear the whole team. That I feel it's very important to hear the whole team, because we are creating a new IP, so we have total freedom to do whatever we want. So everyone can contribute with their ideas. And many times they can be really good ones, and so, but Chris is the one that directs me, really, for real, every time, even though I never discard anyone's opinion in the team.
Right.
But Chris has always given me, except in some situations, it depends, but in several situations he has been given me some good level of freedom to experiment into what I felt was good. Of course, it's in my own risk. I do it and I show it to him, and he says, "Yeah, yes, oh no."
Yeah.
How it happens. But yeah, I do have some freedom. It's really good. It's been really great.
Awesome. So I think we only have time for a couple more questions. We have quite a few in here, but I'm going to try and put some things, get some quick questions in here. We have one from Gaius Freeman asking, first saying, Pedro, first a quick compliment. Your compositions for Star Citizen exhibit a remarkable range in terms of style, structure, and form, all while holding a consistency grounded in your compositional voice. I'm confident Star Citizen will go on to be praised for, among other things, its music, so kudos to you. And then he goes on to ask, could you comment on the transition from smaller indie projects to larger AAA developers goes in terms of a composer's roles and responsibilities? Do you still run your entire ship, arranging, recording, etc.? And what have you noticed change over the years as you've moved from project to project?
That's a question, isn't it?
That is a question. Now, interesting thing, Gaius Freeman is based out of here in Vancouver and also studies composition and stuff like that. So I know he had some real questions in there for you.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that's a very good question. What changed? Nothing. I was always very lucky because I never did projects because I wanted, just wanted another project to get money. In my case, I was very lucky that the project I was hired were the projects that I actually contacted the people that were involved and told them I really want to compose for this project. Even though one thing I would always tell is never ever work for free. That's because if you're starting study, many people will say, "Oh, it's good for you to gain contacts and credits." That's bullshit. Sorry to say that. So never work for free. I never did that. And it's even if my first ever project, which was an indie project, I didn't work for free. And when I see people that's starting, to push a lot into the free zone, there are people that really actually don't respect your work, so they really don't really give a damn about what you're doing. So better off not doing work for them. So since I don't notice much difference, because to everyone I work for, they really wanted me to work for them as well. They respected my musicality, and they paid for my work. It's very important. That for him, I must say that it's very important. One of the things I've noticed is whenever I had a smaller project, and for some reason a long time ago, and I kind of like say, yeah, okay, I can do a smaller price, because I get less respected, and that's frustrating. When you're doing music, when you feel respected, your music will come out better, really better. So if you want to be respected, get well paid. That's really
that's it right there. Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get you don't have to get a super well paid like to be a millionaire. Not saying like that, but get reasonably well paid, like everyone does, because so with that. So what I notice is not, sometimes I had a situation before, and I was supposedly in a higher profile, for a feature film, like a big thing, with some nice actors, really nice actors. But the director came to me and said, "Oh, I want to work with you, but I can't afford, so it has to be free, work for free." And I said, "Well, sorry, man. For free, I prefer to stay with my family in the afternoon, just watching the sunset.
Right.
Much better." And he said, "Oh, but I love your music." And then I made the mistake to start doing some, like a minute of music. And while I was midway doing that minute of music, I had other projects that were paid, so I was taking a bit more time. And I remember when he was saying, "Oh, you're taking too much time. If I could just hire someone here," he was like saying, "Oh, if I could hire someone here over the States, it will be much better, because it will be faster." And I said, "Well, you just touched the right point. I think you should hire someone over there, because I had enough."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, get the hell, because so I never had bad experiences in none of my projects, because in all my projects I've been paid accordingly with what I gave into the project, and with my experience at the time. I feel I was respected because of that. And when you feel respected, you feel good with yourself, and music comes out much better. And so that's my answer.
Awesome. So thank you, Freeman, for that question, for sure. So I have another question here from Avila4480 saying, "I noticed your concerts for the Ian's de Castro Requiem. Is there any love song for any of the characters, or any sort of that in?" Now I think he's asking about Squadron 42. Now you're not doing the Squadron 42 soundtrack,
well,
is that correct?
For now, I'm not. For now, I still have a lot of stuff for the PU and the 4 stars, and so I'll not be doing stuff in Squadron 42.
Right.
Anyway, I might work on it later on. It's still not. It's not like a very. But for now, I'm not. So unfortunately, the ideas I had for the characters and several other ideas, well, they will have to be discarded, because it's another guy's domain now, and he should have the freedom to do whatever he feels is best.
Yeah. So I actually have another one here from Vila that maybe is a little bit more appropriate. What are some of the weirder or more unusual instruments that you've used in your compositions for Star Citizen? Is there anything that's been sort of...
Yes. Well, the weirdest instrument I used until now was a mandolin, which I used for the FPS, which is kind of weird. A mandolin FPS. But I don't know if you remember the music. It's already released, so it's like that you have like something that sounds like a guitar, doing like dun 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 dun. I don't know if you remember that music from the FPS, something like that. It has like a mandolin, and the mandolin is played with my fingers and very close and very lightly, and then the volume is like amped a little bit, so it kind of sounds like a powerful, soft acoustic guitar, but it's not. It's a mandolin. It's very strange because a mandolin is usually kind of regarded like more ethnic or something like that. So not for a sci-fi universe. I do want to create instruments that I still have in my plan for some of the races to create certain particular percussion instruments custom made for them. So that for now we are more in the UAE region, so all the scores will be a bit more traditional. But then when we get to the others, I want to create instruments for them. I feel that will be really, really awesome and really unique, like having a Bazantar, which is an instrument. There's only one in the world, and I really want to use that in some of the Vandal stuff. I feel that will work very well. And I want to create percussion instruments out of metal and metal cans that are sculpted. That will be very interesting. Even though I don't want to. I always try to prefer in the actually compositional content rather than focusing too much time in the actual timbre or tonal aspect, because I believe it's maybe I'm a bit linked with the old school methods of composition, but I still believe that even though I do believe some of these modern elements are needed, they should not take like the most attention. I always make fun when I see a making of the video of a new score, and all I hear like 60 or 70% of the length is not talking about how the melodies were created. For example, in the Majesty of Space, the music has a line which is like dun, dee, dun, dun, right? And this last note, which is dun, dun, which is actually a long note, very important one. It stops. It's a B. It's not just like any note. It's like a B note, the B, and the B stands for the first letter of my son's name. So I feel that's more easy. I feel well when I explain those small details of like the racing track that has a nod and a homage to Richard Joseph, and then it has speed activated and the drone sounds of the track that are like a homage to all of that they hear. I feel that's more important than a metal structure that you constructed to make some beats. So I was saying I always prefer when I see a making of soundtrack where 70% is discussing how the melodies were created and why were they created with that, why were they repeated 3 times, the reasons behind some of the options, what we did, and on the instrumentations and stuff like that, rather than spend 70% of the time just hearing about the instruments that is created. It's cool, but it's just just a drum. It will not make your soundtrack out of this world. Melody and good harmony and good orchestration will make your soundtrack more mature, more intemporal, I believe.
Right on. With your music, how much of it would you say in Star Citizen is done with an actual full orchestra? And how much time does that take to sort of practice with everybody and do all that if you do use full orchestra for some of the
Oh
pieces.
yeah. I believe I've only done right for now. I only have 10% done of what I actually want to have it done, and I will have done. We already have the new orchestral sessions laid out,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be doing very soon. Next month we'll have another one, which will be a big one, a really big one, and it's be fantastic. So that will be a really good moment to have really new and cool music in the project. Well, not exactly right next month, but if 1 or 2 weeks later on, once the music is polished and sent and mixed, I think so. So we will have another one now in a short while, so next month, and I feel it will be. It will be very really good, really great. So, how much time? He asked how much time the musicians take to.
Yeah. So
rehearse?
how long the orchestra takes to
Well,
practice?
yeah, it takes for each track. It takes around an hour, at least. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on the complexity of the music. Sometimes it's not just about hitting the right notes. It's about giving the right expression. So it depends on the music. If the music is simple, music is just rhythmic, or if music is expressive and needs some attention to balance of the instrument in its sections, some kind of intonation care, because sometimes when you're playing, for example, you're playing viola, and there is an E, and if that E is the fundamental of an E major chord, it's quite easy for the viola to play the E. But if that E is actually the major third of a C major chord, that E has to be kind of retuned in real time to have that more intonation quality into it. You probably not understanding anything I'm saying. It's not like Chinese, but it's like unlike with a piano where each note is always the same. When you're playing with an orchestra, a same note is never the same.
It can have
It's
different
always
feelings
different.
to it, right?
No, it's not different. It's actually tuning. It has, like, for example, if it's the E can be like, but if it's a major, if it's an E in a major chord, it can be it can be a little bit higher to have a more just intonation. I can't explain it without an example, but it's very hard to get it right. So it's not just about reading the notes, it's about understanding. Each player has to understand what their note represents in the harmony, and they can only feel that after 2 or 3 takes rehearsing the music. So only in there you will waste like 20 to 25 minutes, then another 20 to get everything right, then around 10 minutes to actually record 2 or 3 good takes, basically. So it takes a bit of time. Yes.
Awesome. And I think I have time for one more here from Gaius Freeman, saying, myself and many members of the community are particularly inspired by your South by Southwest trailer theme, specifically the piano theme for the Where Are Your Dreams segment. He says he loves the core motive, which is, let me see this, which is thematically similar to Faux Tales Atlas used in the Imagine trailer. Was your track somewhat inspired by Faux Tales, and could you comment on your process for that specific track?
Well, it was not inspired by Faux Tales, but it is curious that he mentioned that. Yeah, the rhythm in the start is kind of fast, even though everything is different. But I believe when I composed that track, it was actually going to be part of the Mustang commercial. That was my take, one of my takes on the Mustang commercial, and Chris Roberts didn't like it at the time. He said no, he liked it, but it didn't work very well with what he had in mind, and he was kind of right. So, and by the time that Mustang was going out, also we had the Imagine trailer from Years 100 out, so maybe it inspired me without knowing. But the music was not used for that, so the music, it was like sitting around without being used, and I was like, and I felt it was a good track. That's why I spoke with Years 100 and said, well, I have a take from the Mustang commercial that was kind of unused. If he wanted to use it somewhere, and then he used it in the fighter pilot segment, which had a wonderful, great voiceover by Trendane.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good trailer. And when the South by Southwest trailer came up, Chris, which heard that trailer from the fighter pilot, and he really liked it because he mentioned it to me, and he said, "Wow, this would be a perfect place to play, to put that theme that you did before." So maybe the only reason why the South by Southwest trailer has that full Atlas thing is because when I did it, the Imagine trailer from Years 100 was all around the web, and I probably heard it and I liked it. Maybe that was that.
It had an impact in some way, possibly.
Yeah, it was a great trailer. Nice trailer.
Yeah, but I want to say from not only from myself but for everybody on the podcast and everybody as a part of the community, we really appreciate you coming on today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
What you're doing with Star Citizen and your involvement in it. So.
Oh no, thank you. No, I am the one who has to thank you for your, for having me here, for receiving me so well. You're so kind. And really sorry about the technical issues, and it was really cool to be here. And I hope I was not too boring.
No, I think for some people, some of the things may have gone over their heads. Yeah, but I know for myself, and I can definitely tell you just by the quality of questions from some of the other people from our communities, it is very much appreciated to get an inside look on how you think and how you compose your music, not just for Star Citizen but just in general. And
you were talking about Star Citizen. We all love you, Pedro, and you're a dude.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You're just too kind. Well, thank you very much.
You are universally loved.
Absolutely.
I don't feel, I don't feel I deserve it. I just want to finish that. I don't feel I deserve this. Sometimes I feel bad about it because there are so many great talent in Star Citizen, and so many people that are so super talented, and they're such a nice people, and they actually help me a lot in the music. I'm lucky because when I do a track, I send it over to many people that I like, not only Chris, of course, because he has the final word, but I also send to those people, and they can say, oh, I like it, but I would change this here, for example. And then
you block them. You block them from your friends list immediately.
No way. I actually hear them, and I actually change it sometimes. Not always, of course. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. But at least I hear it, and many times I do make small changes, and I feel that maybe that has contributed a lot into making the score probably better. So it's a kind of and they've been awesome to me. So the team has been really nice to me, and so I'm lucky. Well, thank you very much for having me here. Thank you for supporting the game, and thank you for the patience. I also want to play the game.
Yeah.
For the record. Yep. So I really wanted to get it, but I'm really grateful that it's being done as a $90 million game and not like a $25 million game. To be honest, that's what I feel right now. And I don't mind waiting a bit more. it's better. It will be better. It'll be more memorable.
I agree
Absolutely.
wholeheartedly.
And it'll last longer. I think it'll have much more replayability, and we'll play it for years.
Yeah, I definitely feel that the game will be, improved and improved and increased along many years. It's just a personal, passionate project from Chris Robert. I'm just here, trying to make his vision come to life in its full glory. But it's his passion. He's really passionate about this, everything. He really, really loves this project. Yeah, it's fantastic. Really great, really great. Thank you very much once again for everything.
Yes, thank you again, Pedro, and we will have to talk later about getting some publicists.
People are saying in the
And
chat
you'll know.
to say obrigado, which I assume is thank you.
Oh, thank you. Obrigado.
Yeah.
Thank you for the kindness of that. Well, have a good day to everyone, and thank you very much for having me here. And sorry about the technical issues.
That's okay.
We
Next
deal
time.
with them all the time.
Yeah, we do.
All right, guys.
Have a good day.
Bye, Pedro. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.